Today on Capitol Hill, Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin presses DHS Secretary Kristi Noem about reports of American citizens and lawful immigrants being deported. She's not just asking for statistics. She's calling out the chilling consequences of reckless enforcement. The idea that U.S. citizens, including children, some reportedly with serious medical conditions, might have been swept up in deportation operations speaks to a dangerous overreach, one that should alarm anyone who values due process.
Thank you for being here. You know, Michigan's a border state, so we need each other. We have a very big bridge that's being inaugurated, ribbon cut in September. We need that to be fully staffed. We have a lot going on in Michigan as a northern border state, so we need each other. But what I'm concerned about is that you've taken the mandate to close off the border beyond going after, as you say, the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants. I'm a CIA officer. I worked my entire life to protect the homeland. If someone's here illegally, they need to not be here. They've committed a crime by being here. They need to go back to wherever they're from. But my concern is that either through sloppiness or intent, you have gone far beyond going after the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants and gone into legal immigrants who were given the ability to be here, and even American citizens. And when I think about that, you know, there are lots of people in this country, including me, who have families who fled this kind of environment where they have no rights, where they have no due process, where they don't have habeas corpus. So while I'll be the first to say, coming from a state that was won by Trump, that there is a mandate to do something about the border, I think it is absolute dangerous overreach to go beyond that and start picking up American citizens and people who have the legal right to be here, lawful immigrants who have done everything right. So first and foremost, do you acknowledge that your department has made some mistakes, any mistakes, in going after either American citizens or legal immigrants here in the time that you've been in office?
We have not deported any U.S. citizens.
Detained?
Or people get interviewed. If they get interviewed and they go through that process and we find that they're U.S. citizens or legal immigrants, they stay in the United States.
Have you deported
we have to go through the vetting process.
Have any American citizens, including children, been deported during your time in office?
We have children that mothers have chosen to keep with them. So those
by my count, you have 10 American citizens, including children with cancer, who have been deported out of the country. I understand you're saying it's their choice.
But
it's hard to imagine a small child having a choice. But have you gone after legal immigrants? Again, your standard in your opening statement was the most dangerous illegal immigrants. Does that include PhD students and master's students at colleges across the country, unarmed? Are they the most dangerous illegal when they have status and no weapons?
I don't decide who gets status through a student program. The Department of State decides that, and we enforce it.
Oh, come on.
That's what our Department of Homeland Security does.
I just would offer that, again, I have no qualms with going after folks who are here illegally. That is not my concern. That was part of my job, was to prevent people from coming here illegally in a former life. My concern is you're sending a chill down the spine of America by going after people who either have legal status or American citizens. And when my colleagues ask you about habeas corpus, and you say, literally, we can review the tape, that you believe it's a right the president has, you sat here in front of all of us and swore an oath to the Constitution, and that is not at all what habeas corpus is. It is a right that we all get, that American citizens get, that people who are in the United States legally have. So my concern is, it's complete overreach. I don't think American citizens, even those who voted for Trump, believe that you should be able to just grab someone off the street, sloppy, who has the legal right to be here, and certainly an American citizen. And I just am concerned that while you say you're going after the most dangerous folks, what you're actually doing is going after folks for political reasons, right? A PhD student that's unarmed is not at the top of the list.
And we're not deporting U.S. citizens, and we're not deporting people who have legal status here.
10 American citizens have been deported.
If the children have gone with their parents, it's because their parents wanted them with them. So let me ask you another question
about cybersecurity. You know, you've cut $500 million from the budget. What specific programs are you cutting? Because there are programs that really aid states and locals that we depend on for cybersecurity. And we know that right now, while we may have good security in the federal government, if you are a local state official, you're depending on the federal government. So have you cut the ISAC program, the program to states and locals on cybersecurity?
The president's recommended budget has a reduction in $491
Does it cut
million.
that program? I've heard the
and what
talking
it's
point.
doing
Does
is
it
putting
cut the
CISA
program?
back on mission.
And
it's
you can't say
ensuring
that this is the most
cybersecurity is going to be
cybersecure.
strengthened.
You cannot say it's the most cybersecure administration if you're cutting the program to my state and to your state.
It will
and if you
be
look
when
on
we-
record, that's what you've cut. I yield back.
Slotkin, a former CIA officer and a Democrat representing Michigan, comes into this hearing grounded in national security experience, someone who understands the importance of protecting the homeland. But she's also bringing forward something deeper, a moral and constitutional warning. She isn't defending open borders. In fact, she clearly states that anyone here illegally should be dealt with according to the law. What she's questioning is how far the state's power can and should go before it begins to erode the very principles that define America. Her line, "You're sending a chill down the spine of America," captures the heart of the issue. Because it's not just about immigration anymore. It's about what kind of country we become when enforcement becomes sloppy, politically motivated, or indifferent to human rights. Slotkin reminds us that this kind of government behavior, people being detained or deported without due process, is exactly what so many immigrant families fled from in the first place. Notice how she ties her argument back to the Constitution. When she challenges Noem's apparent misunderstanding of habeas corpus, she's defending one of the oldest and most sacred American legal protections, the right not to be unlawfully detained. That right doesn't vanish depending on your immigration status. It's a cornerstone of American liberty. Slotkin's insistence that even Trump voters would find this overreach unacceptable is a strategic and unifying point. She's reminding everyone that constitutional rights aren't partisan. Her questioning of cybersecurity cuts at the end of the exchange shows the same concern for competence and accountability. She connects the dots between funding cuts and the safety of states like Michigan. In an era of cyber threats from foreign governments, reducing support for state and local cyber defense isn't just a budgetary choice, it's a national security risk. Slotkin's background in intelligence gives weight to her argument that you can't call your administration the most cyber secure while slashing programs that keep states safe. This is the kind of oversight that democracy depends on, not just slogans, but detailed, informed questioning. Slotkin's performance here isn't about theatrics. It's about holding leadership accountable for both their actions and their words. She demonstrates that being tough on border security and defending constitutional rights are not mutually exclusive ideas. In fact, real strength comes from doing both at once. The broader lesson here is one every American should take to heart. National security without accountability is not safety, it's power unchecked. And power unchecked is the very thing our system was designed to prevent. So, as you think about this exchange, ask yourself, what kind of country do we want to be? One that values control above justice, or one that stands firm on its founding promise of liberty and fairness for all? Because the way we treat the most vulnerable among us, immigrants, students, children, ultimately defines who we are as a nation. Slotkin's message cuts through the noise. Protecting America means protecting its values, too. If you believe in that balance, strong borders and strong rights, then stay informed, stay engaged, and make your voice heard. Our democracy depends on it.